quick and yet. Thank you, Samantha. We're going to try to make this quick, cognizant that you all have lives to get back to aside from this meeting, but also give you the information that we planned today that will be most helpful for the upcoming weeks and months ahead. So just starting with brief welcome introductions. Again, I'm Sarah Pugach. I am our ECE chair. I sit on our board and give a voice on behalf of the ECE parent community. Obviously, you all know Claudine Douglas. You probably all know Samantha Loveman, who's our assistant director. We're also thrilled to have Rabbi Kira with us today, who's going to speak to us shortly. And then I am also going to, in a little while, introduce some of our other heads of various parent committees. And with that, I think, Claudine, I'm going to roll it right back to you unless there's anything you also want to tackle up front.
I think that's great. Again, welcome everybody. It's really, really nice to see so many people here. Right now we have 61 participants, so that's pretty phenomenal. That's over 80% of our families so far. So, and I know we'll probably have a few log in a few minutes. I'm really happy to see so many of you. We don't have a lot of these meetings. I think we have scheduled 4 for the year, and Sarah will talk probably a little bit more about that. But I wanted to just give you some information of questions that have come up. Hopefully everybody saw the parent portal this weekend and had a chance to sort of peruse it. There's a lot of information there, and that's going to be your #1 resource for information. So if there's anything that's coming up, we will put it on that parent portal. So the first thing you may have noticed is that back to school night's coming up. It just snuck up on us right away. It's a fabulous night where you can come here. It's parent only or caregivers only, no kiddos. And you get to find out more about what's going to happen throughout the school year, a little bit more about how your teacher approaches different types of social emotional learning in the classroom, as well as some of the curriculum that they'll be introducing to the children, some of those learning opportunities. So it will start at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary. I cannot believe that we are here. It's been 3 years since I've been able to do anything in the sanctuary myself. I know that Rabbi Kira and the rabbis have led services there, but I have not been in that space with our families for 3 years. So I am very, very excited about that. It'll be brief with me, and then you'll get to head over to your classrooms. An important thing to note, and it is on that flyer on the parent portal, is that our late care will end at that 3:30 for Mahina and 3:50 for nursery that day. So that additional hour at the end of the day will not be an opportunity. That's so that our teachers can get a little break, go get some food, take a little rest, set up their rooms, and get ready to welcome all of you at 6. They'll be back in the classrooms by about 6:15, but they will join us in the sanctuary. So that's something that's really important that's coming up. The other piece I wanted to talk a little bit about is early and late care. So it's been fantastic to have everybody be able to do that in-person drop-off in the morning. I could not be more thrilled about it. The sense of community. We've heard such lovely things from all of our families. And in the parking lot, I've heard a few folks catch me and say, hey, can I do drop-in early care? And you can. It's really important that we always make sure we have enough staffing. So if you can let us know ahead of time, that's really important, so that we can make sure that we have the proper amount of staff. You won't always be able to do that, but if you can even shoot us an email in the morning to ece@tbhla.org, same email you use when you're reporting any kind of COVID exposure or illness. Those are the folks you want to text or email is ece@tbhla.org. And that way we are a little bit prepared in the morning. So you can always utilize drop-in care. Same for the later care. So if you have a nursery kiddo that stays until 11:50, but this particular day you have an appointment and you need them to stay a longer day, they can stay until 2:50, which would be the next pickup. And you just need to let Carla know. Ideally, if you can let us know before 10 a.m. if it's the day of, and if you can let us know before 12 p.m. if it's the next day. Again, it just helps us prepare better. And if you find yourself utilizing drop-in care a lot, Carla might say, hey, listen, I'm billing you a lot. Why don't you go ahead and purchase being here all that whole time so that you're not doing the drop-in care rates. But I just want to let everybody know that that is an option. The other piece, that little hiccup that we've run into since bringing back the later care and in-person pickup, is when can you pick up your kiddo? So if you have registered for the 3:30 time, you have to come at 3:30. You can't come at 3 o'clock, for example. If you have registered for a 4:45 pickup for Mahina or 4:50 pickup, you can't come before that time. You have to come at that time. And if you're going to stay later, you just need to let us know that we're staying an extra hour that day. So really important, last week we know that there was some confusion around it for just a few folks. And so we were scrambling and kind of running and getting kiddos, but we just don't have the kind of staffing to do everybody at individualized times. And kids aren't always in the same place. So for example, today is another really hot day. The children won't all be on the yard until those pickup times. So just really important that you're following those particular times that you have registered for and that you're communicating if you're going to do anything different. The next thing I want to just talk about is community involvement. You're going to hear from Rabbi Kira in a minute, and I see that Jenna Komsky popped on over there. She's going to also talk to you about some other ways to get involved in the community. It's the thing that is going to be the most impactful for your children and their connection here to TVH is your involvement. And so for some of you, that may be chairing a committee. For some of you, that may be volunteering here or there for different events. It really is what is comfortable for you, but your children will be aware if you are involved and engaged in the community. So I really encourage you to find the thing that suits you, that works for your schedule, that you can get involved in. And it may be for some of you kind of a slow adjustment. You want to get to know what's available first, and that's okay. Some of you just want to jump right in, and Sarah's going to talk a little bit about jumping right in, so to speak, in a minute here. I think first, though, I'd like to give Rabbi Kira the opportunity to talk about High Holy Days and childcare and some of those things that are coming up.
Hello, everyone. It's Rabbi Kira. I have met, I think, all of you at this point, but in case you haven't met me, hello. I'm the Director of Congregational Learning. I get to hang out a lot with your kiddos, especially for Shabbat. I've met a lot of you at our Shabbat in the parks that we've been having over the summer. And I just adore working with your kids. So thanks for sharing them with us. I want to talk about some of the upcoming programming that we have and a little bit of a shift that we've made this year in terms of our Tot Shabbats. For those of you that are returning parents, we've been having Tot Shabbats Friday nights. Now, I don't know about you. I've got kids. Getting my kids after a full day of school dressed and fed and everything in pajamas for Tot Shabbat is a little bit challenging. And so we recognize that. And so we have been experimenting with our Saturday morning Shabbat in the park style Tot Shabbat, and we're going to continue with that throughout the year. Sometimes it will be at the park. We've been doing it at Valley Village Park, and sometimes, depending on weather, it will be here in the building. You saw the one that we had our Shabbat Summer Splash with our water slide that was here, and then there's been the ones at Valley Village Park, and we're going to continue doing that. They've been a huge success. We have donuts, we have music with Daniel. And it's a time for your whole family to come. Siblings can come. And while the kids play on the playground after our little sing-song session, parents can also chat and have some grown-up time. So I hope that you keep a lookout for that. The next one will be in October. But don't worry, we've got a lot going on in September still. We have we're calling it Rosh Hashanah Bachutz. Bachutz in Hebrew means outside. So we're renting out Camp Alonim for the day. It's the 25th, looking at my calendar, the 25th, which is a Sunday. Most of the day we'll be doing camp-like things. There's rock climbing, there's zip line, there's alpine tower, there's sports, there's all the campy things that you can think of. And we feed you and your kids. It's going to be delicious. And then we'll have a family-style Jewish content, Rosh Hashanah content program, followed by a service. We'll be completely done by 4 o'clock. So you can still go and have Rosh Hashanah dinner with your family. This event is free for members, but you do have to RSVP. So I'm going to pop in the chat in a minute the link for you to RSVP for this event. Now you're going to click on this link, and if you have never logged into our Shul Cloud website, you're going to get a link that looks like it's broken. So all you have to do is log in or email Maureen, whose email is on that screen, to say, how do I log in? I want to make sure I RSVP. It's super family friendly. Bring the whole family. It's going to be a really fun time. And then we have High Holy Days. The very next day, we have Rosh Hashanah services. We have a tot service in the morning, and then we have our adult service, and we are bringing back childcare for that adult service. So 2 years through 4th grade, we can watch your kiddos for you, and it's free of charge for our members. So you on this same website, you can sign up for that as well. So you can come and enjoy some grown-up High Holy Day time while your kiddos are well loved and cared for. We'll have that for Rosh Hashanah morning. We'll also have that for Yom Kippur morning. And then in addition to our Saturday morning Shabbat in the park or Shabbat at TBH, we're also going to be doing once a month at least a different style Shabbat service on Friday night. Some of you have been coming to these over the summer with bands, with minions we did last Friday night. That was pretty fun. So keep a lookout for that. You'll get flyers, you'll get emails, and everything is always in the parent portal. And it's one of those things, community is what you make it. So the more time, the more often you can come and spend time together in community, bring a potluck, bring your friends. It's just a really beautiful thing. I think that's everything on my list. So I'm going to pop in the chat the place to look at all the High Holy Day offerings and childcare and all of that. And then I'll also put my email, and you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. Claudine, did I leave anything out?
I think the only thing I would add is that if you have a younger than 2-year-old kiddo, they won't qualify for childcare. So we get that question a lot. I have an 18-month-old. I have a 12-month-old. Can I bring them? And the kids do have to be 2. So just something to note. I do want to keep us on track. I did tell Jen Komsky that we would have her talk at 9:45. So to keep us honest, I am going to turn it over to Jen. Hi, Jen.
Hello, thanks, Claudine. Hi, everyone. I don't know many of you. Maybe I've seen some of you around. My brief history with TBH, well, it's not brief. I grew up at TBH, so I was in the preschool there. Claudine was not the director then, but Claudine was the director when my kids went through ECE. I'm on the personnel committee. I love the temple. I grew up there. I won't tell you what year. You can see my picture on the consecration, but I'm very devoted to the temple. I started a couple years ago with another congregant, Erica Jarek. We started a networking group through the temple, and we're calling it's called the Business Hour, TBH, the Business Hour, get it? And we meet once a month. We typically meet the 4th Tuesday morning of each month. And the only requirement to be part of this networking group is to be a temple member. There's no other fee involved. And it's for any industry. And we even have some people who are retired who come just to be able, thank you, Rabbi Kara, just to be able to know about what's going on and who our members are and gain further connections to our members. So we have a really robust, great group of all different types of industries. We're a little different because of the holidays in terms of our meetings. So we actually started right before November before the pandemic. And we're like the little group that could, and we've kept going over Zoom. We are meeting for this month, for September, we're meeting on September 20th. We're doing a happy hour at the Thirsty Merchant at 7 p.m. And then after that, our normal schedule, the 4th Tuesday, but we alternate between Zoom and in person. So I'm going to put, Kira, you're awesome. I am going to also put in the chat my email address for anyone who is interested. Oh, actually I sent that to Kira. For anyone who wants more information, I encourage everyone to check us out and join us. I also mentioned my kids went through ECE. They've also gone through religious school. My daughter is 15 and was bat mitzvahed right before the pandemic. I think one of the last, February 29th, 2020. And then my son is in 8th grade, and they are both Ozarim. They help out with the religious school, and my son's bar mitzvah will be in January. And then a shameless plug, my daughter also babysits, and she's awesome. So any questions, please reach out. We would love to see as many members there as possible. I've talked to people and they've said that they just didn't even know about us. So we are in the Omer every month. It mentions about us. So, you know, any industry come, and it's a really good group just to connect. people have gotten jobs from other people, just connections, even like, hey, my identity was stolen. Anyone have an idea? And someone had been through the whole thing and walked someone else through it. So it's a really good group for resources. So I encourage you to check us out and let me know if you have any questions. You can also reach out to Nolan in the office because he helps to run us as well. So thank you. Thanks, Claudine. Thank you, Rabbi Kira. And have a great year, everyone. I missed
Thanks,
that.
Jen. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Great. Thanks again, Jenny. And I think rolling along, we're going to move on to Samantha. Again, if anyone hasn't met Samantha at this point, she's our Assistant Director of ECE. She's just absolutely fantastic. And so Samantha, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. That's so nice. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Just going to talk about a few things. I'll try to move quickly through them. The Playground app. I see there's a lot of people here today, so I guess you got the notification and all the information through your Playground feed. We are trying to use it a little bit more for things like teachers may be sending you photos of your kiddo through it, so you can adjust whatever notifications you get from Playground. And if you might get an email, as well as we could even send SMS through Playground as well. So we're just kind of playing around with some of those ways of informing and communicating through the app. So glad you're all here and saw it. So that works. That's good feedback for me. If you want to add guardians to Playground, approved pickup people, you can send me their name and email, and I can send them an invitation to make an account. So you could, same with if you want to delete someone or add someone, just go ahead and send me their information. And yeah, be sure to answer those health screening questions accurately and thoughtfully each day, and show that green check mark when you sign in to the teacher at drop off. So those are my Playground reminders for you. If you have any questions about the app, you're having issues with it, feel free to send me an email. They have a really wonderful customer support system. So happy to help with that anytime. The next piece I wanted to let you know about is some enrichment class opportunities. We haven't started them yet. No information has gone out about them quite yet, but I just wanted to put it on everyone's radar that in the near future, enrichment classes are additional classes that you can sign your child up for. There's a separate fee for them. They're different than what we might do in the classroom. So they might be a specific kind of, it could be like a half an hour of yoga, or it could be a half an hour of a specific kind of cooking or science. And so we'll let you know when we get that course list ready for you. They are usually in the afternoons. So we will be sure to touch base and keep you posted about that. The last thing I want to talk to you about is COVID-19 reporting. If you are traveling or if somebody has been exposed, be sure to send us those emails to ece@tbhla.org. Transparency is key in all of this. So when you're traveling, just let us know, put it on our radar. Vaccination matters. So if your child is fully vaccinated, you can send us proof of that vaccination. Send it to that same email address. We'll have it on file because that might change the course of what to expect and the tests that we might need for your child's return to school. And that's it.
Thanks, Samantha. I just would add a little bit around COVID-19, couple of things. Carla is aggregating all that information. It's not in an accessible place just yet for Samantha and I, because she had to get all of the paperwork ready. So we know it's there. If you've had an exposure, we may still ask you over the weekend, go ahead and send us a picture of your vaccination card for your kiddo just to make sure. So just have that handy and know that we're aggregating all the information as fast as we can. But having your kiddo vaccinated, there's a couple of important pieces where that comes into play, is around an exposure and is around travel. So it is important that we have that information, because it may change a little bit of the course and get your kiddo back to school quicker if we can. So we will keep the portal updated. The thing about COVID-19 is that it still is a little individualized situation for everybody. So we don't want to be living next to our phones all weekend, not long. We also need a little bit of a break. So we may not be able to get back to you before the start of school on Monday, and you just keep your kiddo home until we can move through it, because we do have a team that we it's our COVID response team that we still talk with regarding certain situations. Some are a little bit more clear cut and easy to navigate, and some are a little bit more challenging. And so it just does take a little bit of time. So always email ece@tbhla.org. I just wanted to add that little bit. I turn back over to you, Sarah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Claudia and Samantha. And I would say, just for everyone on the call, if you're wondering, you have things to get back to, I think we're about 2/3 the way through, and our last third might be pretty speedy. So we're rolling along here. So heading back into the idea of getting involved in our parent committees, I want to introduce a couple of people too, and then we're going to give you a little bit of information for any of those of you who want to get involved and haven't yet. So starting with the heads of our committees, I do want to do brief introductions, and those of you who I name, if you want to wave, if you want to say hello, by all means, you can take yourself off mute. Let's start with our room parent chair. She's going to chair the committee of all the room parents across all the classrooms, and that is Sarah Hoffman. And Sarah, I'm going to actually invite you to say a word or two, because I know we have a message for everyone about that.
Yes, hi. Nice to see everyone today. So this year we are actually looking for 2 room parents, and most of the classrooms do have 2, but there are a couple that don't. So you might be receiving some sort of communication from your teacher about potentially volunteering. And so with the 2 classroom teacher or 2 classroom room parents, we will have one that will send communications out, and then the second will typically track the funds. But you'll hear more about this with our parent meeting that will come up next week. And you'll also get to meet your room parents at back to school night this week.
Perfect. Anything else, Sarah, on your end? I think that's probably it.
I don't think so. I think that covers it.
Okay, and I'll say one last piece. In the grand scheme of getting involved, we tend to get some parents who are really excited to be room parents and others who tend to be nervous about the role. And I will say very, very honestly, when I was first asked if I was interested in being a room parent, I was nervous about it. It's really not a ton of work, and it's really been a great way to be involved. So just in case you're one of those parents, it's like, I don't know if I can take that on, especially now that we made it a co-room parent position. Our goal is to not actually have it be a ton of work. So I'm just putting a plug out there. With that said, let's talk about some of our other committees. I'm going to introduce the other chairs, and then we'll talk about how you can get involved on them. So our next committee is our Fundraising Committee. And this is something that benefits the ECE as a whole. So we can do special events and bring really cool things to your kiddos and really just enhance their experience. And so our head of our Fundraising Committee is Allie E. Rush. Allie, you want to wave or just say a brief hello? So
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm driving, but I'm here.
Okay, please don't turn your camera on then.
Nice to see everyone.
Great, thank you, and drive safely. So by all means, nothing more needed to hear from you. And you'll all start to hear from our Fundraising Committee soon. And then next committee up is our Holiday Committee, which actually has 2 co-chairs. I think I saw Dora Bracebird. Are you on the call still? I think I saw you here earlier. If you want to wave or just say hello. It's also possible you may have dropped off by this point. Okay, and then we also have Rachel Millman, who I'm not sure I saw on the list for this morning, but Rachel's been co-leading this committee for some time now, has some great experience, and we're also very excited just to share the rest of you. With the navigating of the pandemic, we've had to be really flexible about what holiday experiences mean at the school, and so we're really looking forward to moving that forward this year and seeing what we can bring in terms of Thanksgiving and Hanukkah being those really bigger events that we've done in the past, and we'll stay in touch about what that looks like. And then our last committee is our Yearbook Committee, and I'm putting a shameless plug out there that we are going to have 2 co-chair positions for the Yearbook Committee, and neither one of those are filled yet. So if you're one of those folks sitting at home going, I don't really know how I could be involved, but I might have some skills that would be helpful, Yearbook Committee is a great place for you. It's not a ton of work throughout the year, a little bit heavier in March and April when we're really getting things together. We've also got a great system down. We've got the previous yearbook chair kind of on tap that we can ask to help fill us in about, we've got a great system and how she went about things, and you don't need graphic design experience. It's really more about taking the photos, the classroom teachers have at disposal and helping us kind of create the pages with them. So anyway, I won't say too much here, but it's not a ton of work. It's very gratifying. You'll get a product at the end and say, look what I created for my kids' school. And we are looking for 2 co-chairs for that position. So Claudine, the question I have for you, now that I've talked about some of these chair roles, and there are also committees that fall underneath them, if folks are interested in maybe being the fundraising or the yearbook or the holiday person for their rooms, I'm assuming they'll see it on the portal, or who would they email and say, hey, I'm interested?
If you want to be the classroom person, just email your classroom teacher. They are keeping that information. I know over the weekend, the teachers that are just getting the emails probably today, there were a number of families. Right away, we had a few spots that we filled on Friday as soon as the portal went out. But at the top of the portal page for your classroom, it lets you know which positions are still open. And so just email your classroom teacher and they'll fill that in, or you can email Samantha. She can also put that on the portal and check in with the classroom teacher. So that's the best person to reach out to.
Perfect. And then if folks are interested in that chair role, it's Samantha that they'll reach out to?
You or Samantha.
Okay, either
All
one
3 of us.
Yep. We will share the information.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only other thing I'll say related to that, I know that some folks, we'd put out a volunteer interest survey at the end of the year and once during the summer. I know a lot of people missed it. Don't worry, it's not too late. And on the flip side, some people did fill it out and they kind of put a bunch of things down. We have not slated all the positions. Do not feel like we've overlooked you. I hope no one has that feeling. Please do reach out with what you're interested in. And, you know, we're just trying to move through this the best we can to kind of organize folks and make sure everyone has an opportunity to be involved if they're interested. So by all means, please do reach out to your classroom teachers for those classroom spots, or reach out to myself, Samantha, Claudine, about any of those chair positions, especially yearbook, that are open. And the last thing I'll say is just, I mean, again, going back to that why, I'm not someone that's always been like a lead or involved in everything that my kid's ever been a part of or I've ever been a part of, but it's been wonderful. I mean, Reese, my kiddo who's in Mahina, really, she knows that I'm involved. She knows that I meet with other parents and with Claudine and Samantha and that I'm at the school, and she's kind of proud of it even at 4. And it's been a nice way for me to be involved too, especially during pandemic times and still feel tied to the school. So I definitely encourage, most of the things are super low lift in terms of amount of time or effort. So encourage everyone to get involved, because we all make it kind of the best experience we can. It's one of those all ships help rise kind of situation. And then I think that's really it on my list, unless I've missed anything, Claudine, that you want to wrap up with.
I think the only person that we want to give a little time to is Lauren Baum from Baum Holla. And Lauren's had kiddos go through our program, and we are now utilizing Baum Holla for a Holla in our classroom. And she helps sponsor part of that by the Holla sales that she does on Friday. And so I'm going to let her talk a little bit about that. And then also for the High Holy Days, what you're offering folks. So Lauren, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. So nice to see so many people here and so many familiar faces, lots of regular customers. I started this Holla company during the pandemic, and it's grown and grown and grown. I started right here in my kitchen, and now I bake in a commercial facility. And I use lots of high quality ingredients, organic, non-GMO, wherever possible. And I have lots of different flavors. You can go to my website, which is thebaumholla.com. There's also a link to it on the portal, and you can place your order by Wednesday of each week, and I will guarantee whatever you order. I do try to have extras in case you forget to order, or you just kind of, the mood strikes you on Friday morning. For the holidays, I'm going to be offering 4 different varieties of round challas, and I'm actually going to be putting that out today on my website and on my Instagram. Follow me if you are interested. I always kind of do updates and little flash sales and all kinds of things like that. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you, Claudine, for your support, and thank you to everybody who's been a loyal regular. And if you haven't tried it, please come by.
Thanks, Lauren. Do you want to put the information in the chat just for families so they can log in and start ordering?
Yeah.
And
then I was going to say, Claudine, speaking of chat, I did see there's one request to give a little more information about what the holiday role would be. I'm almost thinking of just putting a message out there to everyone. I'm happy to stay like 2 minutes after. Anyone who's interested in hearing about any of the positions, I will be happy to give a very brief overview of each of them. And that might inform kind of your decision on like what you might want to get involved in. So just put it out there. I'm gonna stay 2 minutes late. I'll give you an overview of all of the roles.
Sure. And I do want to say that for the holiday folks, it's really still a little bit of flexibility around what we will be able to do. The Thanksgiving feast was a really big event that 3 years ago, we haven't done in 3 years in the same way, where we would have, that was a very heavy lifting time for the holiday folks in the classroom and then the holiday folks who chaired that role. It still would be, so for example, no matter what, well, I shouldn't say no matter what, but the plan that we've been able to do throughout the pandemic is that there was still some cooking involved in getting ready to do a Thanksgiving feast in each classroom versus what we previously did, which was in the social hall and in the sanctuary. I don't know what it's going to look like for sure this year. And then the same thing around our seders in the classroom. And so each classroom did their own seder, and what that would look like is still a little undetermined until we get a little bit closer to that. And again, that'll be based on COVID numbers and rates and so forth. So, but for sure, those 2 times are when we really need folks. So it may be just doing some prep in the classroom. It may be actually helping the day of if there's a larger event. So it's not a weekly kind of a thing. It's more of a couple times a year kind of a thing. I can stay on for a few minutes. I'm still spending a lot of time in the classrooms right now, as is Samantha, getting all your kiddos acclimated and ready. And I do want to just on that note say, if your kiddo's been a rock star for the last week, don't get too comfortable. All kids go through some adjustment period of some kind. And it can get a little bumpy during the holidays when we have days off here and there. We get them right where we want them to be. And then it's a little harder when they've been home for a longer stretch of time. All of it is really typical. I know it's been in all of our communications, but I can't emphasize enough that those kinds of emotions are very, very common, and they're almost needed because you want your child to know like how they can move through that, how they can sort of have that confidence in themselves and in their surroundings and build that trust. And it only happens with time and experience. So try not to get too unnerved. I know it's hard as a parent. I had one kiddo that didn't have any trouble until Mahina year, and one kiddo that struggled all the way until 4th grade. So, you know, they're all successful now adults and everybody's okay and we all survive, but it's not easy when you're going through it. So hang tight. So I can stay for a couple minutes after in case there are any questions around these positions. If you have questions regarding your child, your first step is your teacher. So if you have a question, you can reach out to your teachers. They do have scheduled time on the portal page that they can set time up. They try to rotate that around, but that doesn't mean that's the only time that you can reach them. When they're in the care of children, they are not accessible as easily to families, but if that's the only time that you have time is during those hours when they're with kids, then Samantha and I will work with them to see if we can get some coverage for them. But do reach out to them if you have questions regarding billing, registering for a longer day, anything with your vaccinations. That's all going to be Carla. If you have questions around COVID protocols or playground or enrichment, something with our program, you can reach out to Samantha, and then I'm your backup for everything. So I'm here as well. And I always want to be a part of any conversations or anything that's going on in your family. So do keep me in the loop. I think other than that, we're just about done, Sarah, on my end. What do you think?
I think so. I think I'm happy to make good on my promise to give that brief overview of any of the positions. So I welcome everyone to stay. If you have to run and you already know the information, by all means, feel free to pop off. But I'll just sort of head right into that so that I make use of people's time. Okay.
And I'm going to turn off the recording at this point too.